All right, some big news across the NFL today. Kyler Murray to the Minnesota Vikings, a James Pearce legal update. Daniel Jones gets another bag. He's so business savvy. And a unique approach by the 35-year-old general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the Chase Down. Let's talk some football. Here we go. All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into the Chase Down. I'm fittingly Chase Sr. This is my brand new NFL and football YouTube channel and show where we're always talking football on the program. Debut episode was last Friday. I'm recording this on a Thursday night, and we're already over 2,000 subscribers. That's great. I appreciate the support. We're not done there. Let's get to 3K next. Really thankful for all of the early support. It's been absolutely awesome trying to build this thing, getting it off the ground, and we're only getting started. So make sure you hit that subscribe button for more football talk from your boy. Let's begin here with topic number one. Kyler Murray today, signing with the Minnesota Vikings. And when I was at the Super Bowl, when I was at the NFL Combine, you've seen all the reports over the last few weeks when it was inevitable that his time with the Arizona Cardinals was coming to an end. This was the expected outcome in NFL circles. Kyler down to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Minnesota Vikings. Didn't really think he would fit with Mike McCarthy and the Steelers. Don't really like the small quarterback having to play in a really bad weather division. Now he gets to play indoors with Minnesota. Visited yesterday, signed today, got the deal done quickly. And I am fascinated to see how all of this plays out. Kyler Murray is one of the most unique athletes in sports history. You heard that right. One of the most unique athletes in sports history. 42-0 as a starting quarterback at the legendary Allen High School in Texas, just outside of Dallas. He missed one start throughout his high school career. He won in the state of Texas. Big school football. Allen is huge. Few thousand in every graduating class. 3 straight state championships. His senior high school season, that of gods, threw for more than 4,700 yards, 54 touchdowns, 8 picks. Also ran for nearly 1,500 yards and 25 touchdowns. Guy was an absolute freak. And in high school, he was also a shortstop and a second baseman. First player ever to be selected for both the Under Armour All-America baseball game and the Under Armour All-America football game. And you see some of the baseball background with how he plays the game of football. Really good footwork, right? Hand-eye coordination. Commits to Texas A&M. Doesn't work out there. Transfers to Oklahoma. Backs up Baker Mayfield under Lincoln Riley. Takes over as the starter. Really good for a couple of years there in Norman. Wins the Heisman Trophy. Oklahoma was a great team. 9th overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft. 1st overall pick in the NFL draft. Think about how difficult that is to do. When I say that he's one of the most unique, decorated, best, and accomplished athletes in sports history at any level, it is the truth. Kyler Murray, truly one of one. Now, as a football player, as a quarterback at the NFL level, the highs have been high. The lows have been low. He has made some of the most incredible plays that you will see on a football field, where he's able to turn garbage into gold. He's able to create magic, and he makes you say, wow, I haven't really seen a guy who can do something like that going up against other uber talented professional athletes. There have also been the lows. No playoff success, some injuries. The Cardinals, a couple of years there with Cliff Kingsbury, started well, including Kyler, faded down the stretch. And Arizona gave him a monster contract extension that they end up regretting because Kyler didn't live up to it. Does he care? Do guys gravitate toward him in an NFL locker room? Is he a leader? All fair questions. I know for a fact, dad is polarizing. Dad is very involved. Nothing wrong with that, but it adds to the unique situation. You say all of these things with Kyler, and you come up with the reasons for why he hasn't success, or hasn't had success, and they're all fair, right? At the same time, think about the organization that he played for. Played for the Arizona Cardinals. Maybe the worst owner in the NFL, Michael Bidwell. Instability at general manager and not great leadership top to bottom within the organization. A lot of coaching changes. It's not like he's had a ton of talent to work with. And the Cardinals are a dysfunctional mess. And it's really hard to have success when everything around you is falling apart at the seams. The foundation is cracking. It's getting leaky. Now, there are the fair concerns about whether or not he's passionate about football. And if you are not passionate and all in at the NFL level, it will not work. You can rely on talent. You can have success with talent. You can do some incredible things with talent. Longevity-wise, though, you won't last long unless you study, unless you're all in, and unless you are all about football all the time. Kyler Murray hasn't been. There was the clause in the contract about the video games. The effort, sometimes questionable. Now, his work ethic might be crazy, right? Compared to some other professional athletes. At the quarterback position, it's different. Think about what Joe Montana was like. Think about how John Elway approached the game. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers. Intense, all ball, all the time, passionate, and football was their full focus. That has not been how Kyler Murray has approached his NFL career. But can he be the next Sam Darnold at 28 years old? We've seen what Darnold has been able to do with quality coaching, better organization, more of a foundation, and viable support. Was really good with Minnesota. They shouldn't have let him go. Goes to Seattle, Super Bowl champion. And with Kyler here, teaming up with Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota Vikings for a very long time, good organization, have never made it to a Super Bowl, but they're extremely well run, very often competitive. He'll be throwing the football to Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison. Kevin O'Connell, who I really like, hasn't won a playoff game yet, gets a little bit too pass happy, is a really good coach. He's won a lot. He has developed a lot of quarterbacks who have played really well under his watch. He's won games with all types of QBs. Josh Dobbs, Kirk Cousins was cooking before that Achilles injury. He's had guys like Nick Mullins play well for stretches. That's what these guys from the Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay tree are capable of doing. And I think over the long haul, KOC, bright offensive mind, played quarterback at the NFL level, learned a little bit around Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, came up under Sean McVay, top 3 coach in the NFL. And he's done some really nice things offensively, play designing, play calling, concepts-wise, having quarterbacks perform well. So I'm excited to see how Kyler teams up with Kevin O'Connell. And there's a little bit of pressure on this Vikings organization. You know, going into 2025, everybody would have said, Kevin O'Connell's fine. He'll be the Vikings coach in 2 or 3 years. They fired the GM, didn't see eye to eye with them, hasn't won a playoff game. And if this season goes poorly, I could just see a mutual agreement for KOC to move on. And if this season goes poorly, what happens to Kyler Murray's career? I don't think he's going to baseball. Gifted baseball player, top 10 pick. You think he's playing in the minor leagues after making millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, getting on random buses, having to go to small towns across America? Highly doubt it. If he has an opportunity to play right away at the Major League Baseball level, maybe. Guy hasn't played baseball in several years, right? Really hard to do. Russell Wilson, really good baseball player. Wasn't going to walk into a Major League Baseball clubhouse and start knocking dingers and catching fly balls in center field. I don't think Kyler's doing that either. But for the first time, like what Sam Darnold has gotten, like what Mac Jones got this past year, Kyler Murray finally is with a really good NFL coach, a well-run organization, has a lot more talent than he did with Arizona. He's throwing to a top 3 to 5 wide receiver in Justin Jefferson, who you can make the argument is number 1. Maybe he's top 3 because he hasn't had good quarterback play. Jordan Addison, if he can keep his shit straight, really good player. Like Jordan Mason as a back, physical bell cow type of player. The offensive line, solid, not great, but probably good enough. You've got Brian Flores, who's a top 3 defensive coordinator running the defense. They've been playing extraordinarily high football since Flores has been the DC. Couldn't get a head coaching job. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what Kyler can do. Going to be competing with J.J. McCarthy. Come on now. J.J. McCarthy is either atrocious or he's not ready. I saw Warren Sharp tweet this out with where McCarthy ranked among all quarterbacks last year, and it was ugly. Out of 36 QBs, 35th in accuracy, 36th in third down conversion rate, 35th in EPA per pass, 35 in completion rate, 36th in sack and interception rate, 35th in passer rating, 35th in touchdown interception ratio. I was at the Natty when Michigan beat Washington. In that game, he didn't do much. I felt like Jim Harbaugh was holding him back. He didn't want him to lose the game. Talent's not an issue. Got a whip of an arm. Good athlete. He can run around. But he wasn't ready. Came out too early, and I walked away from that game at Energy Stadium in Houston when Michigan kicked Washington's ass. That was the Michael Penix team. A lot of good pros on that squad, by the way, too. Rome Odunze, Jalen McMillan, some good linemen. And I said, McCarthy can't declare for the NFL draft. He's got to go back to Michigan. Barely threw it at Michigan and clearly hasn't been ready as an NFL pro. So Kyler Murray is going to be competing with him if he's not traded. Kyler's going to win the job. Also did really good work on the contract, Kyler did. There is a no franchise tag agreement in there where if he plays well, the Vikings can elect to franchise tag him, like what happened with the Colts and Daniel Jones. Instead, if he plays well, obviously, smart business, good negotiating, it's going to try to get a long-term contract extension. Now, the division is loaded in the NFC North. Like the Vikings were still competitive last year, and they were dead last. Again, quality coaching will do that with KOC and Flores, but you've got the Packers, pressure on them to play well. Chicago coming off a great year, really good team. Questions on defense, we'll see, but offensively, dynamite. And you've got the Detroit Lions, who I also think are going to be really good, really competitive, and have a bunch of talent. Now, my issues with Kyler's game, if I could bet on whether or not he's going to be successful and be a top 10 quarterback, top 15 quarterback, I'd say no. I think he's too small. He makes great plays running around, but he can't see over the middle of the field. He can't really process all that well because he's so tiny. He's got to make plays out of structure, which are beautiful, incredible, and a sight to behold. But you can't consistently find success as a quarterback in the NFL and be a high-level quarterback if you can't consistently throw from the pocket. It's Kyler's issue. So we'll see. But him linking up with Kevin O'Connell, I think it's one of the more intriguing developments and stories across the NFL going into 2026. Some more topics here. Falcons edge rusher James Pearce Jr. Major red flags coming out of Tennessee with the character, the guy, and some legal stuff. Kind of getting a break here with that crazy incident that unfolded earlier this offseason. He's going to face 4 felony charges after 1 charge of aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer was dropped. So here's the breakdown of the charges he still faces. Aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, aggravated stalking, was stalking his girlfriend for a little while, allegedly. Looks like he's being charged with it. Fleeing and eluding police, ran his car into a police cruiser, I believe, tried to get away at least, and resisting an officer with violence. it was pretty wild to see a freak athlete, NFL player who's like 6'5", 255 pounds in a fit of rage have to get taken down by like a handful of cops. Guy's an NFL player. It's a physical specimen. And so that was crazy to see video of. The aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer charge was dropped due to insufficient body cam evidence, which would have carried a potential 5-year sentence. I don't know how that's possible. There were multiple angles and multiple videos, people on their phones taking video of this, and we all kind of saw what happened. Every police officer across the United States usually has a functioning body cam working. But hey, the most serious charge dropped. And if he was hit with that, definitely looking at jail time. Now, is he still going to face jail time? Can probably slither his way out of it. Community service, maybe a short sentence like Rashee Rice. And he's going to go from maybe never playing in the NFL again to, I would imagine, facing a heavy suspension in year 2. Is it the whole year? Is it the 10 games? We'll see. NFL doesn't mess around after dropping the ball on the Ray Rice thing, especially with domestic violence issues. But with James Pearce, nobody really surprised, right? This was the chatter for him coming out of Tennessee, at Tennessee. I kind of feel bad at the NFL awards when he was named the Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. His mom gave this heartfelt speech. It was pretty beautiful for me, knowing that I don't have my mom any longer, passed away when I was 26, to see a mom speak like that of her son as she was clearly so proud. And then I think literally the next day, he got bopped and arrested. And the talent is not the issue. 10.5 sacks in year 1. He was great. Loved the game coming out of Tennessee. With my Eagles and Niners YouTube channels, I was heavily scouting him. But on my board, yeah, it was a pass. So hopefully he learns from this, gets a second chance, still going to face a long suspension because the NFL will not go lightly on James Pearce. But it looks like his NFL career has gone from being over, potentially, to he'll be able to play again. The question is when. Daniel Jones getting a bag. This news made official today. Colts and quarterback Daniel Jones agreeing to a 2-year, $88 million deal that could be worth up to $100 million. Daniel Jones gets $50 million in the first year, and it's the largest 2-year contract in NFL history. Both sides wanted to get it done. It officially makes Indiana Jones the franchise quarterback for the Colts. That tweet from Jordan Schultz. Daniel Jones is so business savvy. I mean, he fleeced the New York Giants, and to his credit, he didn't play bad in 2022 when Brian Dable had him playing well. Brian Dable won Coach of the Year. Daniel Jones actually went on the road and beat the aforementioned Kevin O'Connell and Kirk Cousins in a playoff game. Then they got absolutely routed by the Eagles in the divisional round. That game was over at the end of the first quarter. But for the most part of his career, he has not played that well. He's shown that he is not a high-level starter, yet he has made so much cash. And from a business standpoint, it's like what Kirk Cousins has been able to do, but let's give credit where credit is due. Kirk Cousins has been a baller throughout his NFL career, putting up massive numbers. I mean, there were stretches where he was thrown for well over 4,000 yards, 25 to 35 touchdowns for a long stretch there. Kyle Shanahan loved him. Kevin O'Connell loved him. Falcons contract was dumb coming off the Achilles, but he's put up crazy numbers. Daniel Jones has never sniffed that. So he's getting an insane amount of money. And there's kind of a misnomer out there. Everybody last year was like, Daniel Jones, MVP candidate. I think his numbers were kind of inflated. I like Shane Steichen as a head coach and a play caller, offensive mind. I'm a big fan of like what that coach tree has done and what Steichen has done. Shoot, when he was the OC for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts has never played better. But there's a lot of pressure on him. This is a big financial commitment to a quarterback coming off a torn Achilles who's never played well consistently throughout his NFL career. He gave up 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, the same package as Max Crosby. And if this doesn't go right, Steichen's getting fired. Chris Ballard's getting fired. It'll be a new regime in Indy. And last year, like the numbers look solid. 13 games, 68% completion rate, more than 3,100 yards, 24 total touchdowns, 8 picks. But like started off well, and then after that, he was completely average. But Danny Dimes returning to Indy, and the pressure cooker is on. Lastly, James Gladstone, 35-year-old Jaguars general manager, coming from the Los Angeles Rams, got to learn under the great Les Snead and Sean McVay. He's had a pretty unique approach to kick off his general manager executive tenure as he's going into year 2. So, first off, the Jaguars as an organization did not attend the NFL Combine. Nobody was in Indy. Why? They said that they didn't want their scouting and analysis and research of these players get tainted or changed by being at the Combine. And I guess that's like meeting with prospects and watching some of the drills because they want to stick to their core principles of scouting these players and leaning into their tape evaluation. I think it's a little bit odd. I think the 2 best GMs in the sport right now are Howie Roseman and John Schneider. I've asked them this question at the Combine. Why do you go? They want to meet these prospects. They want to have interpersonal communication. They want to have face-to-face conversations. It makes a lot of sense. When you're in that role and you're paying these players millions of dollars and your job is on the line on whether you hit on these draft picks or not, I'd want to meet in person as well. During COVID, everybody thought, we're going to live in a Zoom-centric society. I fucking hate it. And my duties at Chat Sports, on top of talking about the NFL, creating content as a host and analyst, broadcaster, I'm the VP of Content Strategy. I play a role in growing our company, helping hosts with their on-air development, growing their channels, growing their brands, the rise of short-form content. I've helped the company build from 8 employees to 45, soon to be 50 at this point. We've got daily shows on all 32 teams across the NFL. I help with hiring. And we found, like, if you can bring a candidate in person to have an audition, but to meet them, talk to them face-to-face, so much more valuable than some Zoom calls, which can lead to some hiring misses. Those are hiring practices. They're not NFL draft picks. There's a lot of money on the line for us, not millions of dollars. So I thought that was interesting. And then he said today, we're not doing anything in free agency, signing any players, because we want to take advantage of the compensatory pick formula. Okay, a little bit unique. I mean, that Jags roster is really good. And I thought that Liam Cohen did a tremendous job in 2025. Trevor Lawrence is playing well. That defense was really fun to watch. Forced a lot of turnovers, played fast and physical, kicked a lot of asses and took a lot of names. But, offensively, what happens? Brian Thomas Jr., is he happy? Travis Etienne, gone. So I think this is going to go one of 2 ways. James Gladstone could be the young, hip dude who's trying to do things differently for the sake of doing things differently, and he's trying to outsmart everybody else. But that can also lead to outsmarting yourself and overthinking it. So far, Travis Hunter trade, I wouldn't have made it. We'll see early, but he's small, better as a corner than a wideout, but they looked at him as a wideout than a corner. Then he got hurt. Now they're going to go corner full-time, wide receiver time to time. such an interesting player at Colorado, but like I wouldn't have made that trade giving up the picks and moving back a couple spots. The Liam Cohen hire, good move. Liam Cohen and Gladstone had that connection to the McVay era. So I could see this going a couple different ways. I could see it being a disaster, or like James Gladstone could be onto something. And he could be a little bit of a disruptor like Howie Roseman was. And I've talked about this over time. John Middlecoff brought it up when I sat down with him at the NFL Combine in Indy a couple weeks ago. But like when Howie was coming up, he wanted to make a lot of trades. Other teams, though, weren't really willing to make some trades because that wasn't what general managers did. Think about how many trades we see nowadays. Howie Roseman has been like revolutionary as far as his thinking for making trades, being aggressive, manipulating the salary cap, how he approaches and makes some of these trades, how he handles contract extensions, the fine print in some of these deals, and he's been a disruptor. James Gladstone could be a disruptor, or he could be a forgotten man very quickly. We'll see. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching the Chase Down. If you're still watching the show, a lot to talk about. I just love flowing, talking ball. No graphics, just spitting. We're 26 minutes in. Give me a real one down below if you're watching the show. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Chase Down. Actually, episode number 2 today. Earlier today, talked about the Las Vegas Raiders. I like what they're building. Could they shock some people and shock the NFL in 2026? Be sure to check that out. This is a show for all types of people and all types of different football fans worldwide. And I'll catch you soon. Peace.